get started using all of these tools that are available to you. Yep. One of my favorites, of course, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator or LinkedIn. Like, there's 500 million people on that platform. It's the world's largest party. Get involved and start networking on it.
This episode is brought to you in part by TSE Certified Sales Training Program. It's a program designed to help new and struggling sellers improve and take their skills to a whole new level. Get access to the first 2 modules absolutely free. Find more information at thesalesevangelist.com/free course. This episode is also brought to you in part by Sales Success Summit. This year's Sales Success Summit is held in Austin, Texas from October 14th to the 15th. Learn from the top 1%ers in sales, what makes them succeed, and how you can improve. Sign up today at top1summit.com. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And as you heard in the teaser, today we're going to have a great discussion. We're going to focus on account-based selling. And my guest today is Jamie Shanks. Now, Jamie is a CEO of a company called Sales for Life. Jamie is also the author of a book called Spear Selling: The Ultimate Account-Based Sales Guide for the Modern Digital Seller. The whole concept behind this is really, really neat. It's not going with the old school approach of just spray and pray. It is very methodical. And in our conversation, he's going to break it down and give us exactly what we can do to become this effective spear hunter in our sales effort. Check it out. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Bro, I'm excited to chat with you because you know what? Many of us as sales rep, we contemplate, we think over this account-based selling idea. You know, some managers probably like, oh, it's not effective. It's not working for us. But the problem is you're probably just not doing it right. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you and some of the best practices, especially with the modern digital seller and how we can mix that and social together. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, man, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and what you do, Jamie? I know you've been on a podcast a while back, but we got some new listeners out there.
Well, fantastic. So my name is Jamie Shanks. I'm the CEO of a company called Sales for Life, and we are the de facto standard in modernizing your account-based sales motion. So we're a sales training and consulting company specializing in a topic called social selling or digital selling. So we look at the way that you sell today, and we infuse modern digital sales plays directly into your sales process or sales cadence.
Love it, man. And that's why you guys are so perfect for this conversation. I think you're going to give us some great insights on it. But let's go ahead and just break it down. Account-based selling, account-based sales development. What exactly is it, man?
What it really means is that you are focusing on a set number of accounts, whether that's in a geographic territory or in a vertical, or you've been assigned these accounts because they have high strategic value to the business. But ultimately, rather than you relying on inbound leads or channel leads or basically an inbound motion, you have to go outbound. And, you know, I named the book that I wrote Spear Selling, and it's an analogy that's been used in sales for a while in the sense that inbound is like fishing with a net. You can't necessarily choose the fish that land in that net. But ultimately, at fishing with a spear, you get to swim around the deep water and choose the whales that you're going to hunt. And typically, companies focus on an account-based motion specifically because they need to increase their average ACV, LTV of a company. They need to go after very specific accounts, and so they need a different sales motion.
Okay, so here's a thought with this too. What do you see as some of the biggest obstacles people have when it comes towards adopting account-based?
Well, it's the single biggest challenge is that they get the very first step wrong. The very first step is around account selection. And I would say 9 out of every 10 companies we work with, their account selection process is no more strategic than what we call wallet share-based thinking. So ultimately, And I'll tell you a really quick story. I was the keynote at an event, and I called upon an account executive to come up to the front of the stage and present in front of their entire company. How did you select the top 5 accounts? Because everybody had to document their top 5 accounts.
Yeah.
Tell me about those top 5 accounts and why you selected them. This gentleman proceeded to tell the story about he was focused in on the health and wellness space and that he was going to target Peloton, the stationary bike company.
Yeah.
Great. Why? Well, it's because the chief revenue officer of that same company was actually a huge bike enthusiast and said it would be a great brand for the business. Here's the challenge in that thinking. This company has no more strategic advantage winning that account than their competitors do. And in fact, if they actually went through the data of relationships on things like LinkedIn, they may have what we call an asymmetrical competitive disadvantage, meaning your competitor has greater relationships and social proximity to that account than you do. So you're going to spend the next 8 months trying to win this thing and only find out at the 11th hour that the chief operating officer used to work at your competitor. So these are the fundamental flaws. Getting the account selection process right is half the equation.
Very interesting on that. I never even thought about that in the sense because I guess it's more of why go ahead and put yourself in work harder than you need to, right? If I know if there's a 60% chance or 70%, 80% chance of me not getting this, then why would I even do that? We wouldn't, but it just seems like management sometimes or sales reps, I'm telling you, I've been in that situation where I just like the company. So I'm saying, yeah, let's go for them, but end up wasting all my time and mess up with my quota and stuff like that. So,
and a lot of the problem stems actually at the leadership level. They ask the sales professionals to build a business plan of total addressable market of the accounts in their geographic territory or vertical. And what ends up happening is they formulate a list that looks like it was written as the Inc. 5000 list. And all that you've done is you've stacked ranked companies based on revenue, number of employees, market share potential spend. You didn't think about the one factor that affects your deal velocity and deal conversion more than anything, is that people buy from people and relationships matter. And ultimately, this is a game of relationships. And so if you could actually reverse engineer your existing advocates and customers and identify which accounts had the highest social proximity around that success, you have an asymmetrical competitive advantage that your competitors can't take from you.
Who should, when we think about this, and so management should come up with this, or is this something that we should do together in a meeting, or what's your best take on how we go about doing that part?
Well, there are basically 2 fundamental ways of looking at doing this. There's a centralized and a decentralized model. There's pros and cons to both. So let me explain.
Okay.
So imagine you're a company and you're an account executive amongst a sea of 100 sellers in a company. Okay. A centralized model is looking at the equation and saying, how do we use certain sales resources like inside sales, BDRs, SDRs, LDRs to actually mine the total addressable market of a market, whatever that market might be, geo versus vertical, and map all of the accounts in which you have what we call green flags, relationship opportunities and strengths. Those could be referrals from your existing customers because of relationships. Those could be job changes from your existing customer base that move on to new businesses, but your advocates are there. These could be competitors or vendors or partners to your existing customer base, giving the company that you're going after a real story to listen to because it affects their business. So those are kind of like those green flag accounts that you look for. And then the red flag accounts are the opposite of that, where your competitors have relationship strengths and opportunities. But ultimately, the centralized model has these inside sellers mine the universe and then disperse and partner with account executives to target those particular accounts, where the front end might be the inside sales team. In a decentralized model, everyone learns this skill, and then ultimately the account executives think about their own universe in which they say, okay, I sell in the state of Texas. I'm going to take our existing customer base and I'm going to reverse engineer it to determine what accounts in Texas do we have opportunities that we can activate faster than our competitors. And you'll do that. And ultimately, there's a kind of a part B to that level of decentralization in which there's a hybrid model in which these particular account executives can share in relationships and introduce their other account executives based on findings. So, I worked on an account in Texas, but people moved on to a place in Virginia. How do I help the seller in Virginia with these relationships? But ultimately, these are skills. Account selection is a skill that everybody needs to master.
So everyone can do it. Here's a thought too. It doesn't matter. Do you think decentralized method or the centralized method matter based on the type of customer the company go for or the deal size?
No, I would say it's more important to understand the mindset of your internal organization.
Gotcha.
The reason that companies go with a centralized model is they look at it as economies of scale and they go, okay, my inside sellers cost per head is, $50 an hour people, $20 an hour people. Whereas my AEs are $50 an hour people. I'm going to take less expensive resources to do this administrivia. And that might be the mindset of that company. And they might have a decentralized model because they say, hey, I need everyone in the field in Singapore and in Mexico City and in San Francisco to be able to unearth the total addressable market of their geographic area and going deeper and wider than anyone because they need to be the CEO of their own territory.
Love it. That makes total sense there. All right. So I want to go into some of the some of the social aspects. So tying this down to the modern seller.
Sure.
Why is this so important for the modern seller to grasp or to understand when it comes to account-based sales development?
Well, the modern digital seller has all of this information free and available at their fingertips. And that's the opportunity and the risk that sellers pose of not becoming a modern digital seller. All the, I'll call an analog seller. So the opposite of what we teach is one that just takes a list, calls up and down A through Z, applies the same amount of horsepower on every account. The modern digital seller does something like this. They select accounts based on relationships or social proximity. They then plan their accounts using the 4 pillars. We call it triggers, referrals, insights, and competitive intelligence. And they build what we call a war room, a simple one-page document that outlines what are the compelling stories and events I could tell these people. Then when they target these accounts, they're going to use digital technology like video or LinkedIn Point Drive to share insights with these companies and then monitor buying engagement and as well map the buying committee. All these tools allow you to do this so that I'm not spending an equal amount of time on every account. What I'm doing is account segmentation. And I'm going to think about Pareto's law. And I'm going to spend 80% of my time on 20% of my accounts, which will yield me 80% of my return. So it's all that I'm doing is I am applying, classic sales principles that have been around forever, except I'm accelerating my momentum because digital technology allows me to identify who cares, who should I focus in on, how do I move this deal through the cycle faster kind of thing.
When you say digital technologies, are you talking more utilizing Navigator, LinkedIn Sales Navigator?
Great question. Yeah. So social selling is a component of the modern digital seller.
Yeah.
When I say digital, those don't have to just be social platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and Zing and so forth. Those are just elements of the modern digital seller. The modern digital seller will use any and available technology to aid in their sales process.
Hey, I know what Jamie's talking about is getting really exciting. We're going to take a quick break though. And when we get back, we're going to pick up where we left off and continue to share with you how you can become more effective in this new era. You're listening to the Sales Evangelist podcast, and I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. Way too often we find sales reps who become lethargic in their career. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, you've been there too. You just go into the slump and you feel like you can't get out. You're not closing deals, no new opportunities. And it's just blah. What I've seen to help me at that point is obviously listen to podcasts like this, read books, but also attend events where I can connect with other sellers. People who could challenge me, people who could bring new ideas and new thoughts. And that's why I recommend everyone to check out Sales Success Summit. The neat thing about this event is that you get a chance to connect with other top 1%ers, people who are doing amazing in sales. Learn from them what's making them succeed, what's causing them to get out of their rut. How did they elevate to the status they're at right now in their companies? If you are serious about earning six figures as a sales rep, I highly recommend you go to top1summit.com. Again, top1summit.com and register to attend the event. Last year, one of the attendees, a sales rep for a small company, went to the event. He networked with other top sellers. Since then, he landed a position at Teradata where he closed a huge deal. Now he's receiving a multi-six-figure commission check from it. All because he went where iron sharpens iron. If you want to learn from the best, go to top1summit.com and register today. This episode is also brought to you in part by TSE Certified Sales Training Program. As a young seller, I just didn't have it. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any help, and I had to figure things out on my own. Luckily, I was able to take part in a group training course. Not long after the course, I started to see a hockey stick in my sales performance, and I knew this stuff worked. So I started to talk about it and share the advice and ideas, and I said in the future, whenever I create something, it's going to be similar to that. And that's how we've designed TSE Certified Sales Training Program. To get the first two modules of the course for free, go to thesalesevangelist.com/free course. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/free course. When you register and become a member, you will get the other 10 modules, as well as access to our community of other sales reps that you can connect with and join conversation with each week. Find more information again, go to thesalesevangelist.com/free course. Hey, we're back, and Jamie and I are going to pick up where we left off and continue to share with you what you could be doing on a day-to-day basis to make sure you're implementing this idea of being a spear-selling sales rep. Check it out. So let's go through an example, if you don't mind. I'm sure you have some clients that you've been able to coach through this or guide through this. Would you be willing to share any stories of how they took advantage of this, or how a sales rep that maybe was, let's say a traditionalist was able to transform his or her career or path?
Oh, so a great example.
Yeah.
Globally teleperformance. Okay. So their average deal size can range between $5 to $10 million. Okay. So they need to be account-based sellers. So first thing that they did is they mapped the total addressable market. Each seller came together and they did this. They identified, just in the Americas, there are only 800 companies in all of the Americas that meet their ideal customer profile. From there, they then war roomed each of these 800 accounts. Each account executive was responsible typically for a vertical, and they would map that vertical. And then what they're mapping is, what accounts do we have in that vertical today? What accounts do we not have, but have open opportunities? And what accounts have we never spoken to? This is like the first step of business planning. And of the accounts we haven't spoken to, which do we have asymmetrical competitive advantages to target? Triggers and referrals. Okay. So they're using tools like LinkedIn to map the social networks of their customer base to see if there's anybody that knows people at that company, like an airline, and or were there people that have left some of their customer base and moved into key positions at that airline. Then what they're doing is they're then storyboarding together with marketing. The account executives partner with marketing to build a series of sales plays. And those sales plays could not only use digital or social, but they might use the experiential world. So I'll give you an example. They might host an event and they'll use LinkedIn as a means of communicating with these key executives to bring them to an event. And they know that the conversion of when they can get these C-level executives in a room is 2 times higher than when they do virtual presentations. So they're using digital to bring them into the analog world. One of the coolest examples of this, a customer of ours in Belgium, they actually rented a large bus and converted it. They had a DJ on the bus and Belgian beer. And they invited 15 chief revenue officers into the bus. And throughout the day, it would drive around Brussels, and it had kind of half an hour or an hour at different companies, each technology company. And at the technology company, each company was responsible for showcasing a new innovation in the sales world. And so you got all of these chief revenue officers learning together and experiencing what the future of sales was going to be. While it took a while to put all this event together, the conversion of these key accounts is so much greater than just calling in, trying to book a demo, showing them your product. They're not building, a real deep relationship. And so these are examples. I just wanted to give you some quick examples of like Teleperformance would have used something similar to get these key stakeholders, push them off their status quo.
Yeah, because I imagine there's going to be a couple of sales rep listening to this. They're like, dang, man, we need to put our event on tomorrow. But it doesn't sound like you're not saying, DK, this is the only thing to do. These are just examples or ideas, but if the company understand the principle, like you're saying in the first half of our discussion, they can do whatever, right? I mean,
I'll give you another example. So the important piece when it comes to engagement is to step back and develop a sales play. A play is no different from an analogy of playing football. Okay, coach calls a play. It has a game. It has a result it's trying to achieve. That result is we're sitting at 3rd and 14 right now. I need a first down. Okay, so what's inside this play? I'll give you another example. Another example is a company called Hughes Networks, satellite systems that sell into petrol retailers. So think of like gas stations and convenience stores. Mm-hmm. So one of the plays that they realized is that if they can provide market intelligence, competitive market intelligence, where you're stack ranking one gas station brand against another around their internet connectivity in that environment. So what Hughes Network did is they audited all of these retailers around America, and then they built these reports that showcased when you walk, what is the customer experience of the internet? It's stack ranked against your competition. And they were actually able to show foot patterns of usage of internet in certain locations.
Dang.
Anyways, these are the kind of reports that they could use to share with customers in that entire vertical to say, here's where you stand against best in class. That's an entire play. And so what they used, they might use a video, they might send emails, they might make phone calls based on it. All of this is part of one play to tell the story of you versus your competitor.
The cool thing about this too, Jamie, it's like, go back to football. Coach calls a bunch of plays all the time, right? In a game. So it's not just like a one-trick pony type thing. And I imagine there's some managers out there who are getting kind of like, oh man, so my sales rep, they're not going to call anymore. That's not what you're saying at all.
No, not at all. I mean, a call is a touch point. Okay, yep. So let's take it to the highest level. Your goal at an account is to activate the account, okay? Inside an activation cycle or the number of plays that you're going to run against that account, at which point you either qualify them in or you replace them out. You can't call into this account forever. And in fact, the best account-based teams have a very defined activation cycle. Let's call that 90 days. If you don't activate it in 90 days, you are wasting your time based on your sales cycle to replace it and go find an account that has a great relationship opportunity. Okay, so now your activation cycle is going to be 90 days. Inside that activation cycle are called sales plays. Those sales plays, you might have 3 to 8 of them. These are 3 to 8 different stories that you're going to tell along that 90-day journey. Inside each play are a series of touch points, and touch points are organized in what's called cadences and sequences. Distance between the touches, the order of operations you put them in, but a touch point is just a phone call. An email is just a touch point. Like, they're all elements to executing a story. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. So I wish, like, back in the days when I was doing my first sales career, like first sales jobs, if I had adopted that, man, it would have been a whole different game, man.
And if you want to win the biggest and the best accounts in the world, they're not necessarily, doesn't mean it's not happening for every company, but for most companies, they're not coming inbound. You want to win Microsoft, you have to go get Microsoft. You have to find compelling stories to tell them to push them off their status quo.
Love it. Love it, man. If there's one major piece of advice you want to give to someone who's listening to this, they're contemplating or thinking about this idea of taking advantage of digital even more so, and specifically try account-based. What's that? Before we get to that, let's say today this manager is listening to it and she's like, yeah, Jamie got me. I'm interested. I want to do this. We start by identifying the accounts. What's the next best thing that it should be doing right now?
Is developing a storyboard for yourself. So if you've identified the accounts, let's say you built a job change alert and reverse engineered your customer base and found all these key stakeholders that used to work at your customer that now work somewhere else. And you think, wow, I have a real opportunity here to go after them. Next thing you need to do is take a step back and build a series of plays, a series of stories that makes the person or people at that company actually care. And that's not going to be your typical crappy email that you put into SalesLoft or into Outreach.io. Amazing tools, but all you're doing is accelerating crap if you're just using generic email templates. Take a step back and think, what are, again, 3 to 8 different things that they're going to want to know about, such as, are they going to want to know about where they stand against their competitors? Do they want to know about market trends loading in towards the year 2020? Do they want to see a real life video of a customer's experience 6 months or 12 months from now? As in, like, what does the future hold for them? And you've got to think about the customer and develop a story and then engage the customer. Don't just start hammering away on the phone without a series of stories.
Dude, love it, man. You preach that. I wish we're going to put that as like the click to tweet or something. That last part there, you got to make sure you do this plan. Jamie, man, you came and delivered today, man. If there's one major piece of advice you want people to leave with, what's that piece of advice?
Piece of advice is get started using all of these tools that are available to you. Yep. One of my favorites, of course, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator or LinkedIn. Like, there's 500 million people on that platform. It's the world's largest party. Get involved and start networking on it.
Awesome, man. Well, let's touch base about your book. If folks want to check out your book or to get a copy, where should they go about doing that?
2 places. You can go to getspearselling.com or you can go to Amazon, and it's in all the formats, hard and soft cover, Kindle, and Audibles.
Dude, love it. I'm going to put it on my Audible list right now. I'm going to get it.
Thank you. And the Audibles one, I am the narrator. Unlike my first book in Social Selling Mastery, they had a professional actor as the narrator, but yeah. I'm the narrator of Spear Selling, and I'm proud of that because you hear my passion in the book.
Dude, done and done. I'm down for it. I want it. Well, Jamie, man, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. We truly appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Hey, listen, man, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and connect with Jamie. You can find all the information in his show notes. He gave us some great insights today. And the concept here, I mean, it's nothing new, but the cool thing about it is that most people are not doing this effectively. As Jamie outlined and as he shared, most people are going with the old school traditional approach. Let's go and blast at a list and let's hope that we can get something from it. But if we go with a very methodical approach and we can focus and we can target, we can see a better result. I want you guys to learn from him and get the book. Everything's back in the show notes. thesalesevangelist.com/word episode number 1176. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/word episode number 1176. While you're there, also check out TSE Certified Sales Training Program. Our course begins later in September. Would love to have you. Also, I want you guys to go ahead and connect with our friends over at Sales Success Summit. It's an awesome event. Highly recommend that as well. If you want to learn from the top 1%ers of sales to see what they're doing, you got to go to this event. Find all the details back in the show notes. I share stuff like this because I want to help you. I want you guys to be able to find more ideal customers. I want you to be able to build stronger value. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the episode today as much as I did. And if so, I ask that you leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you find fine podcasts. Also, if you haven't done so already, why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe? Show your friends, your colleagues how they can subscribe as well. I will greatly appreciate you doing that. Thank you. My birthday is in the month of August. That could be your birthday gift to me. A nice review and rating on Apple Podcasts. I would truly, truly, truly be grateful for that. Our show today was produced by myself and the Sales Podcast Network. It was edited and mixed together by the one and only Jersh Nobel. Our graphic designer is Mr. Desin Cunado. Our show note was created by the one and only Miss Rael. Our guest coordinator is Mrs. May Marr. Our podcast production manager is Mrs. Shannon Rasmussen. You can find audio credits to this and all of our episodes in the show notes. And as always, I am your host, your coach, your mentor, your guide down the sales journey, Mr. Donald C. Kelly, the sales evangelist. Sales Podcast Network.